Alright everyone, we start off today talking about the gas prices, the Biden price hikes as they affect fuel usage. It's a bad situation. I would link in the description, but you can just go to Gas Buddy and a million other sites and find graphs on this. The U.S. average gas price, so when you go to the pump to fill up your car, it wasn't that many days ago that the national average for all states, they were above $4.50 for the first time. That was a new record. That was a few days ago. Now the new national average is $4.65 a gallon and rising. It stabilized there for a while, but it's still inching upwards. We now have economists, and these are mainstream economists, which means they're often wrong, but on this I agree with them. These are people who, keep in mind, work with the legacy media as analysts generally. The same media that leans on them is being directly coerced by the Biden administration to spin economic news. They're predicting a very high likelihood of $6 a gallon. Nationwide, that would be the new average at some point this summer. $6. So in Texas, you'll be paying California prices. What will you be paying in California? In some areas of urban California, you could see $10 a gallon gas. Now imagine that you commute to work. Usually people do that out of necessity. You're using several gallons of gas and you're paying $15, $20 just to go to and from your job, and you're a workaday. Imagine you're in the working class, you're making like $15 an hour or something. You are literally working for an hour just to pay for the trip to go and work. Well, that's not economically feasible. It makes absolutely no sense. There are some people, the Hill actually, it's on RCP as we speak. The Hill was talking about how the gas price hikes are actually a good thing. This will help us transition away from fossil fuels. No, it won't. The sort of people that will have a problem with paying that pain at the pump are not going to invest in a so-called electric vehicle, which is really a meme vehicle that runs on coal and nuclear energy mainly. You know, you still need fossil fuel to maintain the energy grid. I'd like to point out something. When people talk about carpooling and mass transit and EVs and stuff, normally they are urbanites. So you look, for instance, here in the Netherlands, where I'm currently residing. There's windmills and solar panels and stuff everywhere. The entire country is within walking distance of a city. Even when you're so-called out in the middle of nowhere, it's a short bike ride to civilization, so to speak. It's very densely populated. There aren't many parts of the United States that are nearly that dense. New York City area, San Francisco, LA, outer burbs and stuff, the Dallas area, Minneapolis, St. Paul, places like that. If you're in a big city, an electric vehicle might make sense. Not really, but you know, it's not necessarily cost effective, but if you're a NIMBYist, it feels better not to have emissions at the point of delivery from your vehicle. The power plant's probably not in your suburbs or near your penthouse, so it's out of sight, out of mind, just like with everything else that NIMBYists tend to do. They think that they're contributing. Really, they're contributing to environmental degradation and human slavery in parts of Asia, but yeah, they feel better about themselves. Anyway, that works in maybe an urban area. Trams and buses and stuff. Does it work for people in rural or small town America? No. Like, look at my hometown. The bus service, you know, it doesn't go all day. The buses just sit there throughout the night. It's not like being in Amsterdam. It's not like being in New York City or something like that. Electric vehicles, the sort of people that can't pay for the gas, they're not going to invest $50,000 in an EV. And if they do, they'll end up going broke the first time it has a major problem with its battery, which is certain to happen before that car is capable, because the fuel technically is cheaper, at least at the moment, than gas itself. It's part of its coal and natural gas and stuff. That take years, and the battery breaks down, you end up paying $5-10 grand to have it replaced. So what's the point? It's almost like Tesla with Elon Musk. Maybe he's getting into Twitter because he thinks long-term it'll be more profitable than meme cars. And that is really what electric vehicles are. What does Biden do when he goes to Asia? Link in the description, archived, of course. What is his response to the gas price crisis, which is what it is? Before it was blame Putin. Well, the Putin price hikes. And then people, you know, the sober-minded individuals realized that the prices on gas and all other goods had already skyrocketed long before the Ukrainian invasion earlier this year. A handful of partisans are willing to overlook it due to their severest cognitive dissonance because Orange Man bad, therefore Biden, yeah, Alzheimer's guy good. What's his response? Well, this is part of an incredible transition. So no sympathy for people who are struggling. No sympathy for the working poor, the working class. Hell, at this point, the middle class paying that much for gas, there is going to be a problem. No recognition of the fact that the cost of living skyrocketing so much is eventually going to cause more joblessness as demand plummets because people simply cannot absorb as many goods and services. No mention of the fact that the holidays are going to be a wash because the average person is, before they drove 200 miles, they did a car trip to visit grandma. Now they're saying, hey grandma, let's have a Zoom conference. We'll celebrate your birthday on Zoom. The 4th of July, the crazy uncle is not going to be able to make it from Tacoma. He's going to have to call in, so they'll put up a little mannequin where he would normally sit with a tablet glued to its face or something because it's cheaper. There will be instances of that. It's going to take a huge toll on the economy. Biden ignores it and calls it part of an incredible transition. Again, even beyond the pragmatism, the economic non-pragmatism, you can say, of the Biden administration, the optics, the word choice, the lack of finesse that we see from this administration is arguably as bad as the actual pragmatic fallout for the economy, especially with the gas issue. Now, the idea of this being a transition has been echoed by elements of the legacy media doing damage control for Biden's economic agenda, the WEF, Great Reset globalist thing. It's an attempt to make people into slaves, effectively. It's an attempt to make them live in the pod, eat the bugs, charge their car with an electric outlet, and all of these other meme things that people do. Biden ignores the actual crisis that he has helped to create, and that lockdowner governors have created as well, and that China has caused as well, in order to applaud the fact that more people will buy electric vehicles. It won't happen. Well, it's great, people will carpool more. Okay, what if you live in a rural area and you commute 10 miles, and nobody else anywhere near you goes to the same location to work? You're not going to be carpooling now, are you? Oh, well, you can just buy less. Yes, I agree that efficiency is great and people should be considerably less materialistic. Don't go buy plastic crap. Don't buy excessive anything. Yeah, you should learn to live with less just to make your own life more efficient so that you have more money. But that's not it shouldn't be necessary for the prices to be so high that people that are in the middle class, they're not saying, well, I'm going to buy less Funko Pops or something. They might if they're vapid and stupid. They're not saying that. It's more like, hey, I get to choose today between buying the cereal or buying the milk for the cereal. That's not a properly functioning economy when that sort of decision-making elevates itself into the middle class. That's something that people that are in poverty have to deal with anyway. Trust me, been there, done that. Normally, it does not happen with the middle class unless there's severe dysfunction. Biden and his people are completely out to lunch, and the problem's getting worse. It's not expected to get better. He also said, this was in response to a question regarding recession. He's like, well, I don't think there will be a recession. Look at those jobs numbers. Again, the problem is those jobs numbers are not going to be so good once the cost rises and destroys the demand, because businesses won't sell as much, ergo they will have fewer employees and or cut corners in other ways. Wages might start to drop. That'd be catastrophic right now. If wages don't even come close to pacing inflation already, what happens when the business is incapable of continuing to raise the wages along with the inflation? Well, people will drop out of the workforce voluntarily because they won't be able to make a living. They won't even be able to afford food. Or they'll cut down on production. Well, if I've got 100 employees and I reduce the production by 10%, I'm going to reduce the employee count by 10%. Which of these night janitors am I firing today? You've been here longer, but he cleans better, so I don't know, I'm going to flip a coin. But one of them will get fired. Businesses will become less efficient over time. This is a disaster waiting to happen. We probably are headed off the cliff towards recession. We'll be lucky if it's not worse than that. And this is all coming soon. This is coming this summer. Over the next 3 or 4 months is when you're going to see, potentially, economic Armageddon that will rival or maybe surpass the Great Recession back during the Bush-Obama years. If that happens, by the way, the midterms are anyone's guess. The GOP's favored to pick up at least 35 seats in the House. It could be 70 for all we know. That's about all. Peace out.